Good morning and welcome to Facebook Live for a Throwback Thursday on a Tuesday. I do like to confuse things. Oh dear. It's just I've got deliveries coming on Thursday and I can't have the doorbell going and answering the doorbell and those sort of things. Bear with me, I'm just trying to refresh my computer and I've forgotten what I need to hit.
And those sort of things.
Okay, I've got the right thing. I've got the comments. I've got some people. Yay! Thank you so much. It was a little bit last minute and everything, so lovely that you could join me. I hope you're all well. And just thought I made a Christmas card. Well, I was working with my Fancy Foliage actually, and I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, about six new cards. And then I thought, but I could do a Christmas card with this as well. So then I thought, right, let's do that. So I am going to flip the camera so we can have a look at the card. We'll have a look at the other cards and then I'll run through what I'm going to be using. But thank you ever so much for joining me. That's fabulous. And I can see that we've got Bev from Australia as well, who is with us. Oh, it's lovely. Thank you so much. There's Julie and Andreen and Lynn and Sue and Anne and Maxine and Brian and Susan and Hilary and Gail and Charlotte and Philippa and Pam. Excellent. Thank you so much. I know, Philippa, what am I like? Bear with me. Let me flip the camera. And also, hello to anybody else who's joining us as well. So to Christine and to Sue as well. Okay, let me just, sorry, I hit something on the camera then. I don't want, oh, come on, don't mess about. Right. Okay, so that doesn't look too bad to me. Okay, so this is the card that I'm going to show you what I'm going to make. And I used my Fancy Foliage down the edge and I cut the edge to match it, and I've used my Happy and Christmas and I've stuck one on one side and one on the other side, and then inside I've got my Fancy Foliage at the top here because I thought it made a really nice like branch for the baubles to sit off of, which I hadn't really thought about that before. And then obviously got my baubles, and I've used the Wishing You a Peaceful Christmas, and I've embossed that obviously in, I say obviously, it's got polished gold on it. And then inside I used Hazel's sentiment, and I did a bit of hazel as well, so I've got a little bit of the pattern, the Fancy Foliage coming down the side. Isn't that lovely as well? Like, even if you just did that top and bottom and used that as a Christmas card, actually that's really nice. Just a bit across one corner and a bit across the other, and then I'd heat emboss that would be lovely. Anyway, so I will talk through what size bits and pieces that I've used as well, but I'm going to show you the other cards first of all, and then I'll talk about the bits and pieces that I need for this one. So bear with me a minute. Oh, I know, Bev, you've got another show, haven't you? And Jeanette's doing a beautiful make and take. I've seen it advertised. So anybody in Australia who is going to, it's called Papercraft something, isn't it? I believe. But anybody in Australia, there's a lovely show coming up and Jeanette is doing a beautiful card there. Okay, so I made a few inky backgrounds. I wanted to show you sort of how it all came about. You can tell which colours I got carried away. Right, those three are the same actually, and those two. Okay, so what I did was I made an inky background so it was sort of all over. And then I did just a little bit of inking down the side because I wanted it to be where I was going to put my Fancy Foliage. So for this one, I've used the Fancy Foliage top and bottom, and then I went round and coloured it with the ink pad. So just went over to make sure that you could really see the pattern, because I was a bit heavy-handed with the ink and it did get a little bit, not lost, but it is there. And then I've used the polished gold onto vellum, and from an inky background I got my daisy punch out. I can't remember the last time I used my daisy punch, and before I never made a card without a daisy punch on it. Picture to Page Papercraft. I knew it was Papercraft, and it's really weird. It's at Sandown Racecourse, and we've got a Sandown Racecourse in the UK, and I used to do shows there. It's a bit spooky, really. Anyway, have a fabulous time there, won't you, Bev? And send my love to Jeanette. Okay, so then this one, I just did the splodgy background, and I used my acetate so that I could really see where I was putting the ink on the card as well, because picked up the ink from my mat, so do it on the craft sheet, and then I could actually see where I was putting it down on my card. And again, I stamped a complete Fancy Foliage, and then I turned it on its edge because I wanted the top part to have some as well, and then used a black fine liner pen just to draw those two lines. And I'd forgotten about all those beautiful sentiments that come in with the Fancy Foliage. Isn't it funny how you get stuck like with one stamp set, or with you just move on to the next new thing? And I think that's what I'm liking about Throwback Thursday. It's actually making me go back and think about stamps that I've already got, you know. So the Fancy Foliage, obviously, and then you've got Today is your birthday, a day just for you. Enjoy every minute, whatever you do. May all your birthday wishes come true. Don't count the candles, just enjoy the glow. I love that one. And today is the oldest you have ever been and the youngest you will ever be again. And then the little sprig as well, which I should have used that one maybe inside the cards. Anyway, but it is a really nice and useful set. And the fact that you can make it into a Christmas card as well, just think adds a little bit more to it. So that was one set that I did. And then I did have some left over, I think. Oh no, I used that for the punch daisies. So again, I did an all over heavy background, then I went a bit lighter, and then I went just down the side. I tried to do the same things with all the different colourways, because I thought it was nice to have different colours. Different people like different colours, don't they? So again, with my heavy ink in, and this time I did it in 3 panels. Again, I went over into the detail so that I could just make sure that all the leaves on the foliage were actually coloured in. So I think I used chipped sapphire, and then I think I used prize ribbon actually, and then that's peacock feathers. I kept them all out, but I've tidied up. I did keep them out so I could tell you. And this time I did the polished gold directly onto my card. Just look how lovely that looks. Again, I felt it got a little bit lost, so that's why I put my twine round it. So if you're ever feeling like that, something like a little strip of glitter card, or the fact that I've just tied the twine round, it just draws your eye into that sentiment again. So that was that one. And then on the not so heavy one, again, I coloured in with the ink pads, used the same 3 colours, and just made sure that I could really see the detail in the foliage. And then, oh, I just love this on the vellum. How lovely does that look with that polished gold? Wishing you a day as special as you are. Now I've taken that one from Heartfelt, I think it is. Yes, so from my Heartfelt Sunflower, got you wishing you everything wonderful, you're wonderful in every way, and wishing you a day as special as you are. So that came from that stamp set. And again, I just punched out a few little daisies, because once I got the daisy punch in my hand, that was it. And then I think this is probably one of my favourites. I love this one. I went a lot lighter with the ink in this time, and then I went in and coloured put the detail back in with my pencils, and I bought some green in. Now I use my pencils and look, I was so chuffed with this. They've been in my little Stadler box for so long. Oh, glued it together, have I? No. And yesterday I was very naughty. When I went to stay with my cousin, we went shopping and I bought some of these and the original ones as well. Oh, couldn't leave them alone. They were meant to be for Christmas. Well, that's why I don't buy stuff ahead, too far ahead. Anyway, I covered my box with some pattern papers that I had and thought I'd put pencils, use my alphabet for my pencils, and so it was the Stadler pencils that I coloured this in with. I introduced some of the green in there as well, and I love this, and I put a little bit of glitter glue, of course, on the foliage just for that little bit of sparkle, and then again a little bit of vellum and some gold embossing. So really pleased with that one. So that's that selection. And then I did have some orange ones which I haven't used yet. So these were my backgrounds I created. So that was my heaviest, then a lighter one, and then tried to do a really splodgy one. I love this because it's really autumny colours as well. And then I've come in with the ink pads and coloured these ones just to make sure that you could really see the pattern. Adding my glosses and of course another bit of polished gold onto my vellum, but it just looks beautiful. Bring it up a bit closer so you can see it. I can't get the light right on it. Is that my computer's taking a bit of time to pick up on it? Yes, Bev, the older stamp sets are still available. Thank you, Philippa. Sorry, I just your answer's just come up. Yes, you are, Brian. Yes, but the older stamp sets are still available, definitely. I wouldn't work. I'm trying to make my Throwback Thursdays available for obviously people who have them, but also if you're new, then I wouldn't be you. I really want to focus on stuff that I do still have because I want you to be able to get it if you are new. So the card that we're going to do today, I have got a 6x4 that is scored and folded. I've then got a piece of card which is going to go on the front, and I've cut that down so I've got a little border all the way around the edge. So this is going to be the piece I'm going to do my stamping onto. I've then got, now I'm trying something here because when I've done my Happy Christmas, I've just done it on a single piece of card like I would normally. What I've done here is I've glued two pieces of card together, and I'm going to stamp on it and emboss it and then cut it out, but see how easy or not it is to cut out, but we'll see. If not, I could leave them just as words and have them on the front. Then I've got a piece of card for my baubles. I will need a piece of card. I lined this because where I've slipped them in underneath, I've made like a little hinge. So I'm going to be taking, I'll have to cut pieces of the card down. Let me just quickly do that so I can show you. So I would say about 4 centimetres is plenty. This is just a little bit over because I'm just using my lines on my guillotine. So I want two pieces that I'm going to create hinges with, and then I didn't like that I could see them. So all I did was put another piece of card in and then I trimmed around it. So we'll do that as we go this time rather than as an afterthought. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to tell you I have jumped ahead because it did take me a long time to stamp and colour and everything. So I have just done the two front panels for the front, but I wanted to show you how I colour everything in. So I haven't done the inside or this piece or this piece. And the only other thing I've done is, because this takes me a little bit of time, is I have cut out, stamped and cut out my bows ready to go on. But other than that, I'm going to do all of it. So I'm going to put them to one side and put those to one side. So on a piece of card, so on an A6 piece of card, you would stamp 2 of the designs, stamp them, colour them, and then cut them out. So I've done that piece, and now this is the front of my card. So I'm going to work on this piece of my card now. So I'm going to take this away now. I just wanted that there so that you could see it nicely without the light reflecting on it. So in my press, put a piece of card. I'm going to offset it because I want to have my stamp overhanging. So there is a heart on here. Obviously, I wanted to avoid using it for the top part of my card, so that I can have the heart up here, and then I have got little hearts in it, but I think I managed to just about get them without it. Oh no, there's one here. That's fine. Okay. I don't understand. Oh, it's that. Yes, that is right. Right. Okay. I'm going to pop that down, and I'm just using my black VersaFine, and I'm going to ink this up. Now I'm not looking. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the questions at all. Now I know Philippa's watching, and I do rely on Philippa so much to answer stuff. So thank you so much, lovely. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this across the top. Give that a nice bit of pressure because it's quite a busy pattern. That's lovely, very happy with that. So I can take that out. I'm just going to clean the inside of my mat, and of course I'm going to clean the stamp. And I've just treated myself to a new cloth. How about that? I'm not sure I like it as much as the old cloth, but never mind. I don't think it cleans as well. Maybe it's just that the stamp, so I have used it a lot. Okay, so I don't think I need that one again. Let's put that away anyway. And then while I'm stamping, I'm going to do my baubles as well, because I need my 3 baubles, and I can do all my colouring. Okay, so I did actually do one of each. I didn't do one of each because I didn't do the big one. So I did the medium, the small, and the long one. I don't need that yet. Right. So again, just in black. And I place them like that because I worked out I can get 2 sets then. And then I'm going to ink this up. Sorry if I'm out of shot, sorry. And then we can push down with those. Now, when you use VersaFine, it does stay wet for a little while, and you have to be careful when you do your colouring, because you could go into it with your pencils and it hasn't quite dried enough and it will smudge. So I quite like to give it a little blast with my heat tool. And also Hazel taught me a little trick about, it's always good to put a bit of kitchen paper over what you've got and just rub over it and make sure there's no more wet ink. And I think we're all right. My VersaFine is getting towards needing another one, but I have had it a year, over a year. I don't think that's bad going really. Okay, so I'm going to bring my pencils in, and I want to use, I've got 3 greens, and I have the red and the pinky red. That's all I need of my crayons. So I like to a nice sharp point. I'll just make sure they're nice and sharp. As I'll get a much nicer result if I make sure they're nice and pointy. Might just need that one as well. Okay, so I always start with the leaves, as you know, and all I did was put a little bit of colour at the base, and I'm going to colour them in the same as I've done for the front of my card so that it all ties in. So make sure my brush has got some water on or flowing, and then I drag the colour. It's obviously going to have more intense colour at the base of the leaf, and then it's going to fade away, which was the look I was after. See, now I try and read the comments and I can't. I wish I could read and colour and talk all at the same time. Okay, I like to put a little bit. I do always go back and read them though, so even if I don't reply to you now, I will later, I promise. These ones, again, I put colour at the base and I pulled it out, but then I did go back in and strengthen that colour, which is, this is what I love about pencils. I haven't played with them for a little while, and I do love the control that you've got and the blending that you can do, and just adding that little bit of darker shading in. And I'm not good at light and dark and all the rest of it, but I can go back in and just add that little bit of colour, and I just do it until I like how it looks, really. Okay, so then I use the limey green for this one and just did little scribbles, and then just sort of drew the colour out a little bit for that one. And then this one was the same soft colour, like it just at the base of my leaves, and then really get that colour mixed in, and then as you drag it out it will get paler, which I just love that. This definitely is the therapeutic bit for me, that I can just get, yeah, just forget everything and just concentrate on the leaves or whatever it is I'm colouring. Now that's interesting, you prefer pencils as well. I mean, I do love ink pad, colouring with the ink pads, and I do think it's quite versatile and quite easy to do, but I do love the effect that you can get with a pencil. Okay, so for these leaves I'm just colouring the tip with the lime green, and then with the bluey green I'm just putting it at the bottom, and then what I do is get over the lime green and get that to mix in, and then come down to the bluey green and then get it to mix in together. So you're sort of creating your own colour leaves then as well. But if you work with the lighter colour first and then drag it in, just mixes beautifully. Do like to add a little bit of colour down the stem. I'm not worried if I go a little bit off skew. It's just a bit of colour at the end of the day. Right, so then with the more appley green, I put a little bit in each of the tiny leaves. And although it's not that time consuming, but like I say, this is the bit that I love, is the colouring. I think that was definitely it for my mum as well, with the colouring. And she always used to buy me, it always made me laugh. at Christmas, when I was little, I don't mean when I was big, I wish she had. But when I was little, she used to buy me colouring books. But they weren't really for me, they were for her. So on Christmas afternoon, you would find my mum sitting there colouring in my colouring books that she bought me, which is lovely. Okay, so I've got a long stem there, I've got another bit of leaf there. And even though it's only a little tiny bit, I don't like not having any colour on it. Okay, so now I've just put red in the bottom, so I need to make sure that my brush is really clean before I move it. And again, I'm going to like mix the water in with that colour and then just bleed it out, because I want the really strong red to be at the base. And if you feel you want to go back in and add a little bit more, you can. When you're going back in and adding a little bit more colour, it's always best to let it try and dry off a little bit. You will feel a big difference when you colour over the top of something that's still wet than if it's dry. And then I just do the little dots as well. Okay, so that's that. That's finished. And how lovely does that look? It is just such a beautiful stamp. This really is. And just whatever colour you do it in, whether it's... Come on, focus again. Okay, let's touch my phone and see if I can get it to focus again. That's better. It doesn't know what to look at. That's the trouble with the phone. But isn't that lovely? Okay, so now I'm going to do my baubles. So I'll start with the bluey green, and I'm going to do that on the sprucey bits. And then come in. I did the top of the bauble as well, and I don't worry. All I've done is a little scribble, because all I'm going to do is go back in and go over the top of the pencil. So then this is the limey green for what is sort of mistletoe, and then I want the appley green. Actually, I did this two-tone as well, I think. Yes, I did. So I put a bit of appley green, and then I came in with a bit of the lime at the top, just so it lightened it and made it a bit more interesting as well. So let's go over the mistletoe. And I just love how it changes the pencil when you add the water. You know, like it's just scribbled on there at the minute, but the minute you put that water onto it and it mixes in with it, it just changes everything. There we go. And then in with the red. And the red heart. Well, not those berries, but the red berries on the holly. Okay, and then what I did, so on my one here, you can see, as opposed to what I've done so far, I did go round and put a little bit of soft green around the edge, just so that you got the defined, it added a little bit more colour. To me, that was a little bit too white. So I'm going to come in with the soft, and I'm just doing a little bit around the edge. Be careful near the red, because it will go brown. So then just very softly with my brush, actually there's probably even enough colour just from what's left on the leaves. Oh, just touch that red. Where's my bit of hitching roll? If you blot it, it'll pick most of it up, and then you can just come back in and try not to touch the red this time. There, that's better. Happier with that. Okay, so I'm going to use my pink now and add a bit of colour. All I do is go over those long detaily bits on my poinsettia for colouring these. And make sure I've got all my green off, and then I can just blend that in. Then I can go in between with my pencil for the back petals. Be careful when you come down to the edge, because you want to try and keep it like the edge of the bauble. If you go over, you want to keep trying, that's how you define the shape of the bauble. So then I come back in and I just got a little bit for the bits behind, so that we're going to get a nice bit of colour on those petals as well. And mix that. Then we can come in. I think I'm actually going to add a nice red centre. And then just bleed that out a little bit. That looks nice. Pleased with that. Oh yeah, lovely. Okay, so then I'm going to come in with the lighter colour on the top of my leaves. So it's really quite quick, even though there's like quite a lot of detail and everything. It's pretty speedy, really. A little bit of colour at the bottom. And I think we'll make this a red top. And we'll make this one a pink top while I'm there. Right, so then we can go over our red top while we've got it. And I don't worry about trying to keep in the lines, it's fine. Okay, so again, go in with the paler, working into the darker. And that'll mix the colour up and blend those together. And then just got those little dots. Now I did them green, okay. So literally, you can go over these if you want to with your paintbrush. I won't, because it's going to take a little while. And I'm very conscious that all you're watching me do is colour. And as probably therapeutic as that is, okay, really pleased with that, love that. So onto the holly one. So I'm going to, got my apple green, so I'm going to put a little bit of colour in the base and down the line on each of the sprigs of holly. Then I'm going to wet this and bring it down and sort of stopping. I'm not taking it all the way down the holly leaf, because I want to come in with some of the lighter green, do the end, and oh, forgot this one, I did that last time. Okay, with the lighter one, I'm also going to go around the edge of each of the holly. Last one. Okay, so now I can bring that paler colour back down and blend it in to that deeper green. And to me it just looks, oh, I just love the fact that it's two colours. How lovely does that look? Let's bring it up so you can have a better look. So just beautiful, isn't it? Ooh, excellent. It's always very exciting when Philippa, I love Philippa's Technique Tuesdays. If you've not seen them all, or you want to go back and see them, there is a playlist on YouTube. I always learn something, even after all these years. Definitely always learn something. And it's so funny because Tracy and I think that Philippa is so calm and cool and collected, and she has such a lovely manner about teaching. It's just fab. And Philippa says that she still gets, I mean, I still get nervous even now. I might be able to draw enough colour out from the berries and then put it back in. I want to just put a little bit of colour in between the holly leaves, and I'm just going to use the colour that's on my berries, and I can go back in and add some more if I need to, but it's just enough to colour those little dots. Again, be careful around the edge because you want to keep the shape of the bauble. But if I need to go in and get any more, yeah, that's lovely. Pleased with that. So then just go back in, just make my berries a little bit redder because I've obviously used the colour, the pigment from it, to colour the back of the bauble now. Okay, so I think, I've got one little bit of colouring to do. I won't put them away. But so they're ready to be cut out. I will do that in a second. Just thinking what else I should do next. Okay, I need to colour my strings for my baubles. So I'm going to have a red, and I literally put the colour on with my pencil very badly. I don't worry about it at all. I mean, look, that's how badly, I'm going to show you if I can. That's how badly I've done it. Okay, but then when you go round with your water brush, it just adds that bit of colour and it will look perfect. So I think we'll have a pink one because I rather like my poinsettia, would be nice with a pink. So as long as you just got some colour around it, I think that's absolutely fine. And then we'll have a greeny one, just to keep the green in there. Make sure my brush is clean. Don't want it to be muddy. Right, perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to cut these out. And I like to cut them into pieces first. And then I'm just going to cut them with a little border around the edge. So there will be a bit of white showing, but they're going onto a white card, so you don't have to worry too much if it's not particularly neat, because it blends into the background of your white card, really. Okay, now I can sort of read the comments now. Yeah, she is really good, Brian, at teaching. Okay. So now we've got a nice border around that. Let's get rid of that. And then same with this one. Who else really enjoys the colouring? Do you like to colour images in, or do you actually like creating the backgrounds, a bit more inky backgrounds and stamping on the backgrounds using different coloured ink pads, like a bit more maybe like Hazel does. For me, it is all about the colouring. I do love what Hazel does, and I do try, but I do know what I'm good at. Well, Joe, I am a lefty, and when the craft mats first came out, he didn't do left. Well, I don't think he did lefties to start with. He might have done, but I'd already bought my right one when I knew there was a lefty. I've got a little one, and I have a feeling that I bought a lefty for that one. But I usually have the big one out when I'm demoing like this. I don't know if the little one's up here or downstairs still. No, it must be. I think I've left the other one downstairs. But I think that might be a lefty. I sometimes turn it round, if I'm honest, because I do want the mat on the other side. So yeah, I think I've got a lefty downstairs, but it's like you just said I'm a lefty, but I cut out with my right hand, which is very strange, really. Okay, so I'm going to stick my bows on top of my baubles so that I don't lose them. I put a little bit of glue just in the centerpiece and then tuck my bow down. So I will do that. I might put green on there and red on here just to be different. So then I'm not going to lose my bows either, because I do have a habit of doing it all and then what have I done with them? And then I find that I've thrown them away. Okay, got my baubles. And I'm going to put them onto my piece that's already cut to size. And just going to go in my little scrap box, which I know Philippa and Brian are going to be so pleased to see. I'm going to use a cardboard, and when you're using thin bits like I am for this bit, just make sure that you've got the corrugated bits, otherwise when you cut it, it'll all go flat. Oh, okay, right. Preferring back, yeah, I thought you might, Brian. I definitely thought that was you. I am a bit ambidextrous, really. I am with my right hand as well. Gail, you love colouring. Don't normally use the water to blend, just different colours. Yeah, that's really good as well. Yes, I'm really pleased with using the cardboard, I have to say. I think it just gives it such a different feel to the card. I can't explain it. If you ever go with it, and I can highly recommend pizza boxes. These flower boxes I cut up, they're not too deep, but they're bordering on being a little bit deep. Okay, so I have my baubles ready to go on. I do like to place them and just have a little look, make sure it all sort of feels about right. So I'm going to put my sentiment on at the top. Put my glue bottle lid back on. And I didn't stamp it until I made the card yesterday, so I'm going to do it the right way this time. And I'm going to put it on now. And I know it's got to go towards the top. Let's get my sentiment out. So I want it around there. Maybe I'll drop it down a little bit because it's nice to have the strings actually going through it, I think. Okay, so I'm going to use my anti-static bag because I know I've put my hands all over it. And my WOW embossing ink pad. In my opinion, it is simply the best. And just tuck that away, and then fairy fingers so I don't lose any of that lovely script. don't like to do my embossing in my stamping press because I do get embossing powder everywhere, however careful I am. So let's find polished gold. And I'm actually going to stay away from the pencils in case there's any water on there or it's still a bit damp. The embossing powder will stick if there's any water left on my colouring. It should be dry by now anyway, but just in case. Right, that's my embossing. Hit my brush, get rid of the powder that I've left behind. Okay, let's bring this back in, and I'm going to set it on number 2, let it warm up, and then I'm going to heat it from underneath. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but I will try without burning my phone. So you always get a much smoother, nicer looking embossing if you heat from underneath. You know what, it still blows my mind. Let me turn that off. It still blows my mind when I see how fine that Wishing You a Peaceful, it's embossed, but how fine that is. It's gorgeous. Okay, so now I can put my baubles on, and I'm going to have one there, one up there, and then I'm going to overlap this one. So I'm going to put this one on first. Just drop that down slightly from my sentiment. Give that a chance to go on. And then I must not stick this on my card yet because I need to make my little hinges which are going to hold everything. Okay, so I would like to overlap this one. Perfect. And I will do the strings. Oh no, let's do the strings now. Okay, so I've got a really nice fine Pilot G-Tech C4, which is a really lovely fine line. Now I don't do a straight line, I literally do it by eye. That one didn't do very well. There we go. And just hope I don't mess all my colouring up. Add in my lines. Okay, whoops, that's the glue bottle. So I obviously turned it upside down. Whether that's because I'm a lefty or not, I don't know. But there we go. So we've got our lines now. Now I can't stick it in the card because I need to make the hinges that hold the flaps on the front. So I have my 2 flaps. I'm going to have one up the right way and one up the wrong way. And I'm going to score these in half. My scoreboard. Let's move my pencils out of the way a minute. Okay, so this is going to be just over 4 centimetres, but it doesn't matter. I just scored at 2. It really does not matter. I give it a nice deep score, turn it over, and then flatten the crease down. Do the same again. So score at 2, and then flatten that down. Now, one piece is going to go around the back on either side of my card. Let's have the biggest ones at the back. Okay, and then you're going to stick these pieces to the front. Now, what I did was I evenly spaced this. I did one upside down and one up the right way. I'm sure I did. Yes, because I put my Christmas over one of them, so I need to make sure that that one goes on that side and that one goes on that side. Right, so I'm actually going to stick them to the front of here, and as long as I do it equally, then I can chop this bit off top and bottom. So I get a pencil and I can mark. So I want to come inside a little bit. So I've just made a mark up a little bit from the top of the, whoops, of where the leaf will go. And then, I'm not making this look very easy. Right, I want it to be hidden. I don't want to see all of, I don't want to see any white. Okay, so I'm coming a bit underneath. I'm making it shorter than it needs to be. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to chop that bit off and chop that bit off. So it needs to be, actually let's make it 11.5, then it's easy. Okay, then I know that 11.5 is going to be plenty, but it'll be hidden. And it all will make sense when I stick them down. Okay, so one works that way, one works that way. I did turn one up, one down. Right, okay. So then when I stick them on, I can make sure they are hidden. So some glue. And I want them to go as close to the edge as I can, because I want that to be straight on that edge. Obviously can't have it being patterned because it will show. So then I can pop this, whoops, in my guillotine, or you could do it with a craft knife, whatever you feel happier using. Line that up. Obviously don't go through the score. Might need to get it just a little fraction close. You could trim it before you put the hinge on if you want to, but at least that way you know what you're chopping off, which I think is better. Okay, so let's do this side. So glue all on here. Again, flip this over. So I'm having that one go that way, this one go that way. That's it. So I want to get that as close to my edge as possible, making sure it's hidden, top and bottom. Can bring it down a little bit, firm it down. So now I'll show you how to do it. I was going to show you how to do it with the craft knife. Let's do it with the craft knife. Okay, so you would run it down the edge of the spine and just keep going. Okay, so that's that way. I can't do it that way. It's called being cack-handed. Okay, so I'm just using the edge to make sure I have it nice and straight. Okay, let's get rid of that. So now I have two of the wider bits ready to go on here, and then it will fold over. Okay, So you can either, if you're happy to see this piece here, then that is fine. I prefer it where I can't see it, but it's not that offensive. So if you want to cover this up, you put another piece of card on the top, and then you have to trace round and cut round this. So if you want to do it, let's do it so I can show you. So bring that over, trace round this with a pencil. So we know we've got the right way up and it's on the right piece of the card. Okay, and then I'm going to come slightly inside. Not too much, because I am trying to cover up the outside, the hinge. So I don't want the outside edge not to be almost the same. But if I come just a little bit inside the pencil line, there's less chance that I'll need to trim it up when I turn it over. But I actually decided to do it once it was all stuck together. So this is an easier way of doing it. And it wasn't even too difficult actually, when I just stuck it on the inside and just trimmed round from the front. But this should be a little bit easier. And like I say, just by coming inside that pencil line a little bit, it should be better. What I actually did was I thought, oh no, I don't like it. I don't like being able to see it. So I cut a piece of card in half and put it, so I made it like a gatefold card. And then I thought, no, I really liked that you could have that fancy edge to the front of it. That was the bit that appealed. So that was when I cut off the rest and made it fancy again. Well, I'm going to snip that off there because it'd be much easier. Oops, need to cut that bit. That's it. Okay, so now was that piece I drew around? Yes. So now look, now I can put that on the inside and I can't see it. That is a much better way of doing it. So glue all the way around, all your little bits as well, so that you know it's going to stick nicely. Then up to the, don't go over the score, keep it the other side of the score line. Oh, but that needs to be, that's a better fit. There we go. That does look better. And I can't see anything from the front, so that's good. So now I can take, that's for one side. Let's get the other side and pop that in. That's where that's going. And now I can draw around this side and repeat. So then I can again cut inside the pencil line ever so slightly, and then that will help to keep it really neat. So just a little bit inside. It's not a problem at all, Hilary. Have a lovely time. This is the whole point of doing the lives, and I will put it onto YouTube as well because I do think it's so much easier to find. So it will be on the Throwback Thursday playlist later today. But I just think, yeah, that's the whole point of the lives. Dip in and out of them as and when you can. We've all got busy lives and things to be doing, so I'm just grateful for anybody joining me, really. So it's lovely. It's nice to be crafting again. like, but with people. Crafting with friends. And I know I keep saying I want to get back into doing more lives, and I really do, but just things keep going on in life that just yeah, take over. Okay, so let's put glue down on this side, and always almost up to my line, but don't go over the scored line. Keep it within that scored line, and then you can line everything up. Yes, they are Tim Holtz scissors that I'm using. I don't know if they're called little snips or something like that, but yes. Oh, thank you. That's lovely, Bev. Okay, so I've got both pieces now, so now I can put my card together. So let's find my card blank, which I buried. Okay, so this is my card blank. In fact, before I put it all together, I'm going to stamp the inside of my card, because it's much easier in the press if I don't have it all together. So let's pop that in there, pop that away. I have Hazel's. Nope, where's Hazel's? I know I left it out. I have Hazel's Christmas, so I'm going to use her warm Christmas wishes are being sent your way, hoping you have the most fabulous day. So that's going to go there. Oh, actually I'm going to move it up, because then I can bring my... Oh, do I keep putting my head in the camera? I'm sorry if I do. Then I can bring in my stamp, and I can stamp across the bottom corner. Happy with that. Make sure my Christmas wishes is straight. And then I'm just doing this in black. It would look lovely embossed, but I'm just going to do this in black. And then part of my stamp, stamp it down a little bit in my corner. Lovely. Happy with that. Let's just clean that off and out of my mat. I think you'll find, Pam, that most people have, lots of the stockists will have Tim Holtz scissors. Hello, Jeanette. I didn't know you were watching, lovely. Okay, so put that one back. Put Hazel's ones back. And get rid of my press. Right, let's do this last little bit of colouring. So bring my colours back that I had. And make sure it's dry. Especially the bit that I'm going to colour. So that's all right. I'm not going to put any colour on there, but I don't want to smudge it at all. Okay, so I always, if I start not sure which green is the right green, just have a little bit of scrap. Okay, so that's going on there. This comes in here. And then we will put our card together. So we are almost there. Oh, that's not bad for an hour, because I was worried if I had to do those other two panels and colour them and cut them out, because, yeah. Anyway, it was an excuse just to stamp another couple yesterday and sit and colour them, which was lovely, because it's so therapeutic. Okay, and then I want a pale colour on this leaf. And the pale colour in the centre of that one. Make sure my water's flowing. Let's move that colour around a little bit. And fill that in the bottom and drag that I do give my my VersaFine a blast usually, and I have picked up, I can see there, even though I blotted it, I can see I've picked up a bit of black ink. It's a bit dark, never mind. Okay, so then I've got dark on the light on the top, and then dark on the bottom, and blend that in together. I love the different colour that you get. It's got a little bit of that limey in it, but a little bit of the bluey green as well. So then we'll bring our apple green in for those little leaves. Just wet those, move that around a little bit. And I know that I've forgotten just adding that little bit of colour. I do like sometimes to go over it with the wet brush as well, but you don't have to. And then with the red, just a little bit along the bottom, and then I can make sure I haven't got any colour. I can drag that out so it stays much deeper at the bottom, and that red fades into a pink. I just love that. Colour those dots, and then I do like just a little bit deeper. It is those little bits. That's lovely. Right, well happy with that. Get my pencils away in my lovely Toffeeos box. Okay, so let's put this together. So I need to be careful that that's not wet anymore. Okay, so I'm only working on the front, so let's stick these first. So we'll have some glue on the back pieces, and that, all I do is actually place the leaves where I want them to be, have an equal border top and bottom, and then glue it down up to the score line. Oh, be careful, got dirty fingers. So again, glue just on this bit, and then I place my leaves on the front, make sure I've got them sort of equal distance, top and bottom, happy with that. Shut it down, but then bring it in so it's up against that score line. So it's not over that score line, otherwise it won't shut properly or it won't fold over nicely. Okay, so now I can pop this. Got to open it out and just give it a little press. Let's pop this into my card blank. And then I just have my sentiment to do. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. You could leave it as it is. So I've got a nice border, top and bottom, and around the edge. When you're happy, oops, that's gone a bit skew with, pull that out. That's the beauty of wet glue. Then I can firm this down. I've got ink on my fingers. I need my good old, any messy marks. Okay, so you could do a belly band to go round it if you wanted to. Oh, should we do that instead? Then you've got two options, haven't you? So I did try the sticking the card together, and I was going to do it double thickness for my Happy Christmas. But I was just thinking, actually, a belly band round that would look lovely with the Happy Christmas on. So you'll need a piece. If I took another card blank, because these aren't scored, these are, that would do it, wouldn't it? Okay, let's trim it down. Bear with me while I just cut this in half on my big guillotine. So I'm going to cut it down to about 7, I think. No, let's do 6. Because we'll look, those both won't. Oh, that would look nice sticking. No, right, okay. So I have cut this down, sorry, to 4.5 centimetres. And what I'm going to do, just then you've got 2 options, haven't you? I don't think anyone ever minds if I go off a little bit. Right, so as long as I make sure that one of the scores is so that this will, these are going to go around the back. I'm going to have the plain piece obviously at the front. So if I start by scoring here, and then let's wrap that round and see what happens. Because of the thickness of the card, it will determine where it wants me to score it. Okay, let's pop that in there. Right, so all I'm doing is lining the card up against the edge of the score line, and then I can score down. And what you should really do is turn that over and score it back the other way, because you actually need the bulbous fold to be on the inside. Okay, get that straight and score that down. Okay, so now it's too wide, but let's just make sure before I cut it down. Yep, it is. Okay, so we don't need a big overlap. We'll have about 1 inch. Okay, let's get rid of this. So I always use the card, especially when it's thick like that, to determine where I'm going to score it. I always lay my card in my scoreboard and then score around it. Okay, so this is going to be the front, and that's going to go on there like that. So I'm going to stick that together. Sorry if I'm out of shot. So let's put some glue down there. Get it straight on your card so you can line it up. Don't do it like really, really tight. Like try to do it so there's a bit of, so you are actually going to be able to slide it on and off. So don't worry if it's a little bit, so it's not absolutely flat. That's fine, because then it's going to slide nicely onto my card. So now I'm going to do the Happy and Christmas. So I will use this card. This is doubled up, remember. So this will give us an idea how easy it is to cut through 2 layers of card. So I have my Christmas and I have my Happy out of my birthday. Okay, I can pop them down. If you don't want to cut this out, you could just cut around the piece of card. So you don't have to cut round intricately into the word. You could just do it as a rectangle. But we'll see how well it cuts out first of all. So again, use my wow pad. Give a little bit more willy to push in down for the bold sentiments. Get that out of the way. Bring this back in. Well, I've been a bit of a long time now, haven't I? I'm sorry. Okay, let's heat this. Now I'm going to do this from the top because it's got to go through 2 sheets of card, which is going to take quite a while. So I'll do it from the top and see how we get on. And then hopefully you might see it actually turning as well, although I don't know. You have to remember as well, I've glued these together, so when I'm heating this up, it's heating the glue up as well, so it may start to come undone. Might not like it, but we'll see. Now, if you turn it around, if you struggle with your hands at all, I would chop these up as actual words. And I do struggle with my hands, but I think this will be fine. Okay, so I come in and I do add a border, because that means I don't have to go in and be as intricate if I'm leaving a big enough border around my letters. So there is a little cheat. The bigger the border you leave, the less you have to cut into it, but it's still nice that it's got that little bit of interest and it isn't just flat. But if your hands won't allow you to do that, then there is nothing wrong with just cutting them out and having them go on as rectangles at all. Okay, I'm going to cut a little bit out of there just to accentuate the H, and then a little bit out by the C. Okay, so now let's come round. I'm going to do all along the bottom first and then go back in and cut the extra bits that I need to. Okay, and then just around the S. Okay, so up by our A, and then to neaten that bit up a little bit. Oh, definitely up by the R and the H. Just even if you take a little slither out, it just makes a lot of difference. If I can get hold of it, there we go. Right, so we've got our Christmas, and that wasn't too bad at all. It actually worked, and it's lovely and sturdy. This would be much better if you do want to cut your words out and stick them to the front rather than making the belly band. Then I highly recommend sticking 2 sheets, and this is 600 GSM, and it's not too bad to cut out at all. So it's 2 pieces of Hazel's card stuck together. And it really isn't too bad. Okay, let's go along the bottom. And then we can cut up the bits that we need to. So can come up. Like I say, this is where it's good that you've left quite a nice border, because otherwise you're making your word like really wobbly again. And the whole point of having 2 pieces of card together is to make it that bit more stable, and it has definitely worked, definitely. I'm glad I thought about that this morning. was like, I wonder what would happen if I put two bits together. I actually didn't think it would be so easy to cut out, or I thought it would come apart a bit more when I embossed it, so I'm really pleased about that. So now I'm going to slide the belly band on. So I've got my nice plain piece at the front, the join is at the back. Be careful when you're going over your leaves, just so you tuck those in to start with. Let's bring this down to where I want it. And then I'm going to still have them poking over the top, so I'm only going to glue about the bottom half of my letters. Because I do like them poking above the top, so you've got that interest where you've cut it off. And then with the Christmas, about 3/4 of the way down. Make sure I glue the right half, pop that on, slide it into place, make sure you're happy either side. Could have coloured, I should have put some colour around the belly band, shouldn't I? Never mind. But what I will do is just pop this away and with water and pop that back. Okay, what I will do is grab some of my, I know I've got some red glosses here, glittery ones too. So let's just pop a few of those. Okay, so we have the original, which has the Happy Christmas, which this would be much better with the double layered card. But lovely that you've got that different opening, and that reveals the inside of your card, and then you've got that lovely bit inside. And then we've also got the one with the belly band, and then we've got that lovely card inside and the lovely wording inside. I'm really chuffed with that. I would, let me just show you my other one. That just slides on so nicely. With this one, you can see, and I will bring it, that I have glitter glued the centres of my flowers all along my Fancy Foliage. I've glittered all across on the front here, and I've glittered the inside as well. So I laid my card out like that and glittered all these bits, and then flipped it, when it was dry, flipped it over and glittered the other bit. So, right, let me just very quickly, I'm so chuffed with those. Bear with me. I really like those. That's something a bit different. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm just going to make sure that there was no... Oh, thank you. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, everybody. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to go and make myself a nice cuppa, sit and read all your lovely comments, and yeah, thank you so much. I will put this on the YouTube channel so that it's there. Oh, the state of my hair. Oh, right, let's do that. Okay. I will put it on the YouTube channel because it's so much easier to find then, and it will be under the Throwback Thursday playlist. Couldn't think what it was called. And I will be back soon. I don't know when. Maybe Friday. If not, I will definitely do something next week if I don't do something on Friday. But thank you so much for joining me, and have a lovely rest of the day. Enjoy the sunshine because I think it's about to all change. Typical. Okay, thanks ever so much. Take care. Bye bye.